G'day runners, this is Running Alive. I'm Jason Montfort. Here we are reviewing the Puma Deviant Nitro after the first run, so it's a first impressions video. Let's get running. I like the look, simple, clean, sleek, not overcrowded. And it feels alright on. I got the size US 9, which is my normal shoe size in almost every runner that I run in. It might be a little bit narrower in the toe box, but not overly. It doesn't seem to impact and didn't feel too tight. It's just when I first put it on, it felt close or almost snug, but not like it's a problem, like it's meant to be that way. One issue I did find on this first run though is that there seemed to be just a little bit of slippage in the heel. It didn't grip as tight as I like. I think just a little bit of correction with my lacing, maybe a heel lock would do the trick. So what was the first run in this shoe? Well, the first run was 20 kilometers and it was as part of my 140 kilometer lockdown challenge, and it was the last run, so 7th run, when my legs were already tired, already feeling stuffed. I definitely wasn't going to get any feeling as though I had some extra spring or lightness in my step from any extra recovery. The first part of the run was done with the dog, Cece. It was on the slower paces and we went up to the local oval where I ran a few laps. We covered about 7 kilometres doing that, and then I had to make up the remaining 14 kilometres. Had to get the speed up to get within the 2-hour time limit that we had with restrictions at the time. And so I got to test it at slower paces, some faster paces, some small hills, some soft ground, grass running, bitumen, a little bit of gravel, trail and concrete trails. Let's begin with what the shoe doesn't like. The Puma Deviant Nitro, well, it doesn't particularly like soft ground. Running on the soft grass of a footy oval doesn't allow the shoe to do what it does best. The shoe feels mushy, like it sucks out any of the spring or power you have in the stride when running on the soft grass or a soft surface. It's as though you sink into it, the energy's gone. Bit worried I was going to be very disappointed in the shoe. My suspicion is the soft ground takes away what the shoe relies on to work its magic. But to get into that, let's unpack the next section. So what does this shoe like? Well, it likes hard surfaces. The Deviant Nitro excels on a good hard surface, so bitumen, concrete, so really it's for road running. There's some extra criteria here to make the most of this shoe. It feels better at faster speeds. When I was running faster than 5-minute Ks, the shoe just felt significantly better. It's like there's this clear mark of, yep, feels good. Then all of a sudden it feels so much better when you pick the speed up. It's not just the speed that you're running at that seems to help with this shoe. It's the way you run. So I altered my running stride a few times just to see how it felt. And I found that when I was overstriding, so striding out too far in front, so more of a heel strike but out in front of the body, it just made the shoe feel dead. It's as though striding out in front of you took all the energy that you had in your stride and put it back down into the shoe, and you didn't get your return. But on the flip side, when the foot strike was below my centre of gravity, as it should be, you've got that nice forward lean that you should have when running at decent speeds. The shoe felt great, and it had a nice return of energy. It felt like it was in its element. Under these conditions, how did it feel? Well, being a carbon plated shoe with a foam that they claim has a good return of energy, so it's injected with nitrogen, hence the nitro part of the name. Being a potential race shoe, you'd expect it to feel fast. But to be honest, it felt a little underwhelming to me. It actually didn't feel like a fast shoe, at least not in the sense of a lightweight racing flat. Maybe it was because I was on the 7th day of my running challenge. Maybe it was because my legs were already stuffed. But it didn't feel like it was a race shoe. But it's not to say they're not fast, and this is where the interesting bit comes in. What I did find, it was easier to run at the faster paces, and this was even reflected in the heart rate data that I had. So when running faster than 5-minute Ks, running on road surfaces, I found that it was easier to hold that speed. It didn't feel quite as hard, and this was reflected in a lower heart rate for the same speeds compared to all my other runs that I've been doing during the week. So in some ways, it still is a faster shoe. So It'll be interesting to see how this goes on future runs. Is it just a quirk of that run with how I've been feeling in the challenge? Is it just that I wasn't used to this shoe? Or is that just how it feels? When running on hills, it was interesting. This shoe absolutely shined on road surfaces running downhill. There was a lightness in the landing, and I just was able to tick my legs over nice and fast, and I really love the downhill feel in these shoes. But on the uphill, there's some criteria to have this shoe feeling great. So if you're running in that ultra marathon style where it's almost a shuffle and you're more just placing your legs over without that big spring, again, the shoe felt dead in that situation. But if you pick up the speed, make sure you got a good toe off, got that spring in your stride when running up the hill, it actually felt pretty good. So first run verdict on the Puma DB8 Nitro. Doesn't tend to perform well with anything that lengthens the ground contact time, such as soft surfaces, slow running, or overstriding. However, it might not feel fast in the way that a lightweight racing flat does, but it can be used as a faster shoe, and it excels in situations where you've got hard surfaces such as roads, concrete, hard packed trail, fast running with good stride mechanics where you've got that spring, anything that speeds up that ground contact time. Also, as a little interesting note, and I don't know how much the shoe was involved with this, but I found that after the run itself and over the next day, my legs didn't feel quite as battered and bruised and beat up as they had been after all the other runs during my running challenge. Maybe it's because my body had been adapting over time. Maybe it will take future runs to work that out. I'm curious to see how this shoe performs in future runs, particularly in a road race. With a bit of luck, we'll get those coming in soon. But that's it, the Puma DB8 Nitro.